Are we raising resilient kids, or are we just repeating the same patterns we never learned to fix? Welcome back, guys, to Love by channel. I'm Adria, and this is our space where we do real talk, heal, and everything in between. Because here's the truth: we can't heal our kids if the parents are still carrying unhealed wounds. And if this resonates with you, comment below real talk so we can connect. And today we're diving into mirror effect, exploring how our stress, habits, and emotional patterns shape our children's behaviors, shapes our children's brains. And we'll talk about self regulation, which is one of my most favorite topics to discuss, why modeling it matters, and how to actively show up for your kids, giving them tools, experiences, self confidence, and self love. And by the end, you'll walk away with practical reflection prompts and tools. Of course, I'm always going to give you guys some tools to start using immediately, like right after this episode. Not for perfection, but for real growth. And if you want more tips like this, make sure you subscribe so that you don't miss any episode. So, kids are mirrors. They don't just hear your words, they absorb your energy, your habits, and emotional patterns. Think about this: when you're feeling rushed, stressed, or snapping, your child sees it. When you're calm, patient, and reflective, they also see that too. But here's the key: they mirror what is consistent, not what happens occasionally. So they're literally a reflection of us. Even small, repeated patterns matter. If you constantly rush through meals, multitask during conversations, or barely take a breath between tasks, your child begins to normalize that behavior. They may grow up thinking stress is the default state of life. So again, they are constantly mirroring us. We are their first role model. They are a reflection of us, and we are a reflection of them. So some examples might look like snapping at our spouse or our child. And what they're learning is the child learns aggression is a normal response under stress. If we're pushing through exhaustion without rest, our child is learning self neglect is normal. If we're modeling self care and pause, our child learns well being matters. If we're frequently criticizing ourselves, then guess what? Our child is learning self judgment and harsh critique is normal. Or if we're showing them how to calmly problem solve, your child learns how to navigate challenges thoughtfully. And I also think that it's important also to remember that going back to the first point of when our child sees us in some sort of conflict, right? With a spouse or with a child, but let me stay stuck on with a spouse. I do think that it's still a little normal for a child to see a disagreement as long as it's in a safe space. A child sees a disagreement and being able to see two people walk through that disagreement and finishing the disagreement with a resolution. I think that that is completely normal. That's normal. I do think that it's actually healthy, and studies will show you that when a child sees that and they're able to work through their conflict, then we're building resilient kids for the future. And of course, you guys know I love to share stats because I don't just want to be talk and talk and talk. I love to share stats so that we can really understand the science behind it. So, studies will show us that parental stress directly affects children's cortisol levels, meaning their stress hormones patterns mirror ours. So, if they're stressed, or I should say, if we're stressed, then they're also stressed. And children of highly stressed parents are most likely to develop anxiety, emotional dysregulation, and difficulty focusing by the age of 5. So I would love to take a moment for us to ask questions like, what kind of mirror am I holding up for my child right now? Do they constantly see patience or frustration? Are they seeing calm or chaos? Are they seeing self care or constant neglect? What is it that they're constantly seeing day to day that they can actually mirror? And how are we able to take the steps to properly show them that there's other ways to this behavior? So I had this story that was shared with me, and they said it was okay for me to share it. So I wanted to let you guys know. So I had a parent notice their child mirroring morning anxiety, rushing, snapping, anxious about school. The parent recognized their own morning habits were rushed and tense. They made a change, implementing a calm routine, taking 3 deep breaths before responding. And I do have an episode on reacting versus responding that you guys should reference back to. So I love that they did say that. Smiling and talking through frustration instead of reacting. And over time, the child mirrored that calm energy, starting their mornings with less stress and more confidence. I'm also a key believer. So let's be real. Most of us were never taught self regulation as kids. That means a lot of us are figuring it out in our 30s, 40s, 50s, and still learning how to manage stress, frustration, and emotional reactions. So, what exactly is self regulation? What is self regulation? Self regulation is the ability to manage your emotions, impulses, and behaviors, especially in challenging situations. It's pausing instead of snapping. So, taking a pause, breathing instead of panicking, thinking instead of reacting. So, not being impulsive. And why does this matter for parenting? Because children mirror what they are consistently seeing. If we react impulsively or suppress our emotions, they learn unhealthy coping mechanisms. If we model calm, problem solving, and emotional awareness, they learn resilience, emotional literacy, and confidence, which is extremely important. And stats will show us that 1 in 5 year olds struggle with self regulation issues. And poor self regulation is linked to higher rates of anxiety, aggression, attention difficulties, and school challenges. And more studies will show us that children with parents who model healthy coping are significantly more likely to manage stress effectively themselves. So, not only are we teaching them, but they're also learning coping mechanisms. They're also learning how to be there for themselves as they grow. So, like, for example, if a parent yells when they're frustrated, right? Because I'm sure I've seen it, we've seen it. then that'll translate into their child snapping either at their sibling or someone in school or someone else. Because again, that's what they're seeing and that's what they're going to mirror. If a parent shuts down or avoids conflict, the child is going to learn avoidance as a strategy. So that child is again seeing their parent who avoids conflict, and then that child is going to think that that is okay and that's how it should be. And if a parent pauses, names their feelings, problem solves, the child mirrors healthy coping mechanisms. And I know it sounds much easier as I'm saying it than actually applying it. But just starting off and recognizing it, I think is extremely important. And I would love for us to pause and reset and just let's practice real quick. So let's take a moment to inhale deeply for 4 seconds. So, and hold for 2 seconds. And then you're going to exhale slowly for 6. And you notice how your shoulders, your jaw, your chest starts to relax. Imagine doing this next time your child frustrates you or challenges you, or even showing your child that exercise where they can just pause and breathe. And you can even say out loud to your child, I'm feeling frustrated. I'm going to take a breath and then I'm going to help you. That's actually something I started practicing myself as well, because they're kids. They don't know when we're frustrated. Like, yes, they can see it in us sometimes, but if we're actually able to name that feeling, then it can resonate with them because they themselves have been frustrated before. And now they can relate back and understand, okay, wow, I'm actually frustrated or I'm actually sad and that's why I'm reacting like this. But it's so important to name the emotion and regulate them. So we can try this exercise right now and comment when you're done if you felt any difference. As we're going through this, I would love for you guys to take moments of reflection and think, when I'm stressed, what do my kids see? Do they see me pausing and naming my feelings or snapping and shutting down? How often do I model calm problem solving in small everyday moments? I have another story that was shared with me that I would love to share with you guys. And it is about a mother who would yell at her son whenever he forgot his homework. She realized her own stress and morning chaos was contributing factors to her yelling at her son. So she changed her approach and paused before responding, acknowledging her frustration and problem solved together with her son. Within a few weeks, her son began problem solving calmly instead of panicking, mirroring her regulated behavior. So I want us to name the feeling. Pick one recent situation where you reacted automatically. Reflect, what were you feeling frustrated about, overwhelmed, or anxious about? And how could you have modeled that feeling in a regulated way for your child? Again, it's important to remember that our children see us as a reflection of them. So they are going to mirror what we do. Take a moment and type in the chat or comment one emotion you'll name out loud for your child this week. If we don't model self regulation, our children are left to figure it out on their own. They may internalize it, mimic unhealthy coping, or develop anxiety and behavioral challenges. But if we start now, even small intentional moments, we pass down resilience instead of chaos. And I know you guys have seen it where we've seen, for example, I'll think about the airplane. I've There's been moments where I've flown, and normally people panic when they see children in an airplane. And they're like, oh my gosh, this child is going to be so loud. They're going to be a little annoying. And what I realized as throughout my flying career, when I was flying as a flight attendant, was that the children actually listened a little more than the adults. The adults will automatically have issues with self regulation. And I am not saying that every single adult can't self regulate. But what I'm saying is that we have to give our kids a little bit more grace, the same way we give our adults grace. People automatically think that as a child, you're just supposed to know how to behave yourself. But if studies will show you that adults are having issues with self regulation, then what makes us think that our child who has not been equipped with the tools or even understanding what self regulation is, that they're going to know? They're actually not. Beyond self regulation, let's ask, are we actively showing up for our children's growth or just letting life happen? Being a parent isn't just about survival, it's about intentionally giving kids tools, experience, confidence, and self love. And showing up looks like this: new experiences, taking them to the library, going to the museum, going to art classes, trying sports out, letting them explore without pressure, allowing them to experience new things, and not projecting I would say, not projecting ourselves, our insecurities, our feelings onto their new experiences, and just allowing them to just be, giving them the self confidence. Let them make choices: what to wear, how to solve problems, how to spend their allowances. Celebrate effort, not just results. And I would love to emphasize that allowing them to make choices is so important, because a lot of people, we just want to rule our kids, right? We just want to make all of the decisions for them. But what are we teaching them? Are we teaching them to have moments where they understand that they have a voice? Or are we teaching them that someone is always going to be there and they're going to make decisions for them? Are we teaching them leadership skills, or are we teaching them to be followers? What are we really teaching them? Are we showing them self love, modeling positive self talk, affirmations? I'm proud of how I handle that challenge. And not just about your looks. Oh my gosh, you're amazing. You're so pretty. Good girl. Good boy. Good job. No, like, are we being intentional with our affirmations? Are we giving them the emotional tools? As we reflect, I want to talk about some stories that were sent over to me, and just to see if any of the stories might resonate with someone else. A parent dedicates 10 minutes each day for their child to choose a new activity. Could be drawing, building, reading, or exploring a hobby. Over time, the child becomes more confident, more curious, and willing to try new things because they know their choices are valued and supported. And that's just dedicating 10 minutes each day for their child to choose a new activity. And of course, that sounds a bit of a stretch, 10 minutes every single day for a new activity. But in reality, if you get home from work, right, and after dinner or before dinner, just allowing your child to just do at any age, allowing your child to just pick something that they want to do. What do you want to do now? And it could be art, it could be building something, it could be reading, exploring a hobby, just something that's dedicated to them, that they had the autonomy to pick what they wanted. There was a story that was sent to me. A parent noticed they often snapped at their child when stressed. And we've all been there, definitely. Instead of ignoring it, they started modeling repair. And that looked like, I'm sorry I snapped. That wasn't fair. Let's try again. The child learned it's okay to make mistakes, apologize, and try again, building resilience and emotional intelligence. And you'll realize that just by apologizing to a child and actually holding yourself accountable, it means so much to them. Another celebration was another parent started celebrating small wins, like completing homework or trying a new skill by asking their child to share what they did well. The child started developing self confidence, pride, motivation, showing their attention to growth matters. Again, it's so important. Like all these little moments builds a whole brain child. As we go through, I want us to reflect a little bit more. Am I actively shaping my child's mental health, confidence, and self love? Or am I letting life teach them lessons the hard way? So let's connect everything we've talked about today. Think of it like this: mirror effect leads to self regulation, which leads to intentionally showing up. And here's a simple action plan you can start today with. And that looks like number one, first, identify one moment where you usually snap or react automatically. And maybe it's during homework, morning chaos, or bedtime routines. Next, pause, breathe, and model calm instead of reacting impulsively. You might say to yourself, I'm frustrated, but I can handle this calmly. Then, give your child a small new experience. It could be a choice, a game, a project, or even a reflective conversation. Sometimes that invites them to engage and learn from you. And finally, at the end of the day, reflect. What did your child mirror back? How did it shift your household energy? Did you notice them handling stress or emotions differently? And that can look like this. Let's say bedtime is usually rushed, but tonight, instead of hurrying through it, try asking, what was the best part of your day? The hardest. Listen actively. Share your own feelings calmly. Model pause and emotions honesty. You'll notice your child mirror this behavior. They express feelings instead of shutting down or acting out. Another example can be, or imagine a morning meltdown. Instead of raising your voice, take a deep breath. Validate your child's feelings, naming their feelings, and problem solve together. Over time, your child gradually mirrors calm emotional management, which strengthens their confidence and resilience. If this resonates, hit the like button or share this episode with another parent. It might be a push they need today. Here's the challenge for this week: pick one area where you usually just go through the motions. Pause, breathe, name your feelings, offer encouragement, give your child a new experience or choice. Watch the mirror, watch the growth. Remember, you don't have to be perfect. You just have to show up intentionally. Your children are learning how to navigate life from your example, and that is powerful. So this week, ask yourself, what kind of mirror am I holding up for my child? If this episode helped you reflect, comment below with I'm showing up and subscribe so you never miss real talk like this. And don't forget to share with another parent who could use this message.